Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mavis, your friendly neighborhood veteran. And please don't spoil the story for me in the comments. I'd hate that so much. I haven't played through the entirety of Polina's walkthrough, but hopefully maybe I can get through this. But hold on a moment, let me give another packet of throat tea. Alright, I'm back. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this. I'm truly excited to see what this portion of the story is. But I'm gonna just take my time with this one, see where it takes us. And voila. I don't want to take that from her still, because like she needs the protection, especially after what happened in like the entirety of the original walkthrough. I'm just gonna say refuse, maybe. God damn it. Refuse.
Давай он побудет у тебя. Это все-таки ваша семейная реликвия. Да и мне будет спокойнее, если ты будешь под защитой.
Всегда думаешь о других. Знаешь, мне казалось, что благородство бывает лишь в книжках. Пока не встретила тебя.
I felt a bit embarrassed, so I started shuffling my feet.
Скажешь тоже.
Я серьезно. А что насчет моих извинений? Их ты примешь?
I'll turn this down a little bit. Polina flashed me a charming smile, looking me straight in the eye. I turned even redder.
Да я и не думал на тебя обижаться. Было бы на что.
Polina studied me with her eyes and clicked her tongue.
А знаешь, на что ты похож, Антоша? На блюзовую импровизацию.
I blinked in bewilderment.
Это как?
Для меня все люди с чем-то ассоциируются.
И для меня, но не с музыкой же.
Вот как раз с музыкой. Бывают люди гитарные соло, или барабанный бой, или военный марш, как наша Лилия Павловна. А ты такой задумчивый, таинственный, иногда немного печальный. Ты точно блюз.
А почему импровизация?
А это когда слушатель не догадывается, куда свернет мелодия, какой темп возьмет.
Of course, some things Polina said went completely over my head. But I couldn't stop looking at her smile, light like a breeze in May, and her eyes, deep and blue.
Чтобы распознать в тебе музыку, нужен опыт и вкус. Это не какая-то там эстрада.
Я, наверное, вообще не знаю, что такое этот блюз.
Polina gasped and frowned, which made her look even more beautiful.
Не произноси при мне такие слова. Я тебе обязательно дам кассету. Раньше мне дедушка из города столько музыки привозил. И джаз, и свинг, и классику. Это он подметил, что у меня склад ума, как у музыканта. Я еще совсем маленькой пыталась на бумаге записать звуки природы. Пение дождя, леса.
Эх, мне бы твои уши.
А мне бы твои глаза.
I tensed up, worried that she was making fun of me. But Paulina shook her head.
Да-да, я серьезно. У тебя глаза художника. Смотришь на вещи и фиксируешь их. Я так не умею.
Katya walked past us with her trademark frosty glare. We dove into the shadows, trying to escape it.
Теперь понимаешь, почему мы тут прячемся? Вот из-за таких, как она.
А Катька какая мелодия.
Paulina flashed me a sly smile.
Скрип несмазанных дверных петель. Знаешь, такой мерзкий дискант.
I giggled, covering my mouth. Katya didn't hear our whispers, but she suddenly glanced over her shoulder, clearly annoyed. A moment later, she sighed and went her way. I remembered about the notebook I was still clutching in my hand. I turned it in my hands. Instead of a subject name, the front side had the name of the owner in 2 words. Friends only.
Любопытной Варваре кое-что оторвали.
Прости, это анкета?
Заполнял когда-нибудь?
I lied that I had. In reality, girl classmates from my previous school had never asked me to fill their questionnaires. It was quite upsetting. I mean, it was a girl hobby. You just answer a set of standard questions about your favorite actors and colors, but entrusting someone with such a notebook was a sign of friendship. And maybe something even more. Something I only had a vague idea about.
Хочешь, заполни мою?
My heartbeat quickened.
Хочу, спасибо.
Paulina giggled.
А хотя, там же столько секретов. Наверное, лучше тебе не знать, о чем мы, девочки, думаем.
She reached for the notebook, playing with me. I tossed my finding into my free hand. Polina tried to intercept my move. Her hair briefly touched my face, tickling my nose with its silky locks. I sensed an aroma that immediately filled the whole world. Fragrant, alluring, lively. If only I could picture it, steal it for myself. I felt dizzy, but I gathered myself and spoke in a voice reminiscent of Lieutenant Tikhonov.
Ваша анкета является важнейшей уликой, и я вынужден временно изъять ее для изучения.
Paulina covered her mouth that rounded in fake horror.
И что мне грозит за сокрытие улик?
Следствие покажет.
Сдаюсь, товарищ милиционер. Только обещайте ничего не читать. Здесь содержатся секретные сведения.
Боюсь, что мне все-таки придется выяснить, не влюблен ли кто в гражданина Петрова.
Polina burst out laughing and pressed herself against my chest, showering me with the aroma of her hair and her milky skin that looked almost transparent, with tiny threads of veins running under it. Her whisper was hot, like a piece of butter sizzling on a pan.
Тогда поклянитесь, что не станете разглашать информацию.
Честная милицейская.
А теперь, Антоша, самое время поторопиться.
I took out the notebook during class, skimmed through it, reading into other people's preferences. I was quite surprised to discover Romka's jerky handwriting inside. His letters bulged out of the cells, as if embarrassed by their shapelessness. Fearsome Romka found time for something so silly. I chuckled into my fist after I found out that Romka's favorite cartoon is not even Darkwing Duck, but DuckTales. Somewhere in the distance, a teacher was reciting pieces of Andrew's Snapper. I paid them no mind. Paulina's page was decorated with flower drawings and clippings from the Cool Girl magazine. Her favorite musician is Schubert. Her best friend is her grandpa. Her hobby is not violin, like I expected, but a much more mysterious listening. Can such a mundane process really be someone's hobby? I looked at Polina over the heads of other students. She was focused on taking notes. I flipped the pages until I found a blank one and armed myself with a pen. Anton Petrov, Class 6B. I took a long time to decide on my favorite musician until the Trini pop band, Car Man, came to mind, with the cool dancers in their music videos. Favorite holiday? This one's easy. New Year's. My hobby is drawing. My dream? Going to Disneyland, I guess. My hero? My hand moved on its own, writing da. I stopped on those two letters. What if those who read this after me will find my answer laughable and stupid? After thinking for a bit, I decided that not everything should be disclosed on paper. That's how Da turned into Spider-Man. The spelling was wrong, but who cares? Your biggest fear, huh? I immediately wrote, losing a person who's dear to me. Your phone number. No secret here. 30395. Your favorite cartoon. Transformers. Your best friend. I hesitated, gnawing on the pen's cap. Your best friend. I read the question out loud. It was easy, but at the same time very important. My answer consisted of 3 letters, and I filled them in the cells with care. You. You. I repeated when running out of the school. Refreshing frosty air made my cheeks turn beet red. It was bright outside, and the sun looked like a whole egg yolk. The road looked as if it was silvered. The snow sparkled under the sunlight. I smiled, squinting from the blinding whiteness. There was also something magical in my chest that beckoned me. Because friendship can grow to something bigger. Oh shit. My numb lips immediately shrank. Biasha was shuffling his feet in the middle of the yard, his boots restless on the ice.
Я не тяну.
I tried to go around him, to no avail. Lady Fortune waved me goodbye, disappearing in the early twilight.
Немного. Меня папа ждет.
Я ему тиркну на пейджер, что ты не придешь.
My eyes flinched unwittingly, my skin dampened.
Идем, к тебе дельце есть.
I felt chills run all over my body. I didn't like the sounds of that small business. Those words, accompanied by spinning, normally had very dark deeds underneath them. Strangers that used to call our old apartment used to say, "Get your old man. We have a small business to discuss." Biasha turned around. He looked like an astronaut in this tight hood. If I were to imagine him as a sound, he'd be a deafening whistle, a signal given by someone who stands watch. To my demise, there was nobody at the backyard. Apart from the grim face of Ramka. He stood there, his feet wide apart, with his right hand hidden behind his back. Ramka's dry lips were tightly pursed. He kept shooting glances at me as he looked around. From the bottom of my heart, I hoped that Ramka hadn't seen me together with Polina.
Привел на.
Вижу. Ну, здорово, Антоша.
Что тебе нужно?
He slowly took out a thin, carnivorously shiny blade from behind his back. A knife, the steel butterfly of death that flies towards the victim's heartbeat. I stepped back instinctively and ran my back into Biasha. Ramka's minion pushed me back.
А мы с Бешей хотели узнать. Ты не держишь на нас обиду?
Hold up. What, you little shit? Why you got a fucking knife out and you're asking a question like that? Hold on, let me take a swig of my tea real quick. Let me ponder this. Let me ponder that question. What you asking, son? They're still blinking, that's wild. Ramka started picking on his yellow nail, looking at me with an evil smirk on his face.
Ну, там, в лесу. Мы были немного грубы с тобой.
Сам понимаешь, такое у нас воспитание.
Да, до вас, городских, далеко. Вот порой нас и заносит.
I nodded, my eyes glued to the knife.
Скажи, Антоша, я тебя в последний раз не сильно огрел?
Да нет.
Ну и славно. А то я затревожился, что память тебе отбил. И ты запамятовал, о чем мы втолковывали.
What a piece of shit.
Я помню.
The blade glowed under the setting sun, and Ramka's eyes had the same evil glow. Man, you better get that shit out of my face. He stepped toward me. His knife traveled inches away from my coat. One movement and steel would cut into cloth, and if he pushes deeper.
Нам одна птичка напела. Ты опять возле Полины отирался?
I was so scared that it took me a while to remember who Polina was. My brain was malfunctioning. My knees were shaking. Katya, you cunt! Oh my god! Fuck! I fucking hate that little girl. Raise your hands if you grew up with a classmate like that. Suddenly, our class rep slowly walked up to Ramka from behind.
О, смотрю, мальчики, вы нашли общий язык.
За мной должок, Катька.
Ой, не благодари, Ромочка. Я всегда на страже настоящей любви. Да-да-да.
I'll kill you! I swear!
Так, я не слышу. Ты к Полине подходил или нет?
Мы так болтали.
Болтать будешь кишками, когда я тебе брюхо вскрою.
Fucking do it, prick. Do it. No balls. The blade slid across my sleeve with its dull side and reached my collar. The wind made my face cold, but a bead of sweat still trickled from my temple.
Наверное, мне надо объяснить так, чтобы ты
Fucking
понял.
do it, prick. The split-up handle and the blade spun in a dangerous dance, just like helicopter blades that sweep away everything in their way. I tried to dodge, but the sharp edge of the blade grazed my shoulder. This douchebag stabbed me! I watched in shock as the blade sunk into my skin, tearing it, filling the gash with blood. The rush brought by adrenaline faded away, and the piercing pain escaped my mouth in the form of a pitiful scream. Ramka pulled the knife out with a rough motion, and I ran away without looking back, trying to cover the bleeding wound.
Попробуй еще раз позабудь!
No, fuck that.
Антоша!
Fucking hate that dude. What the fuck, dude? The aftertaste of horrible water I drank down my meds with lingered in my mouth. A cut that was coated with iodine nagged in the wraps with fluffy ends. I didn't tell my parents the truth about how I got it. You should have, dude. Saying that I just stumbled upon a sharp branch in the forest. I waited for a chance to get attention from my parents who were always so busy. My thoughts were focused on Polina. I wandered around the house, feeling intoxicated, and nodded to everything my sister said without trying to discern her words. Oya was talking non-stop, at times lifting her arms and laughing only to suddenly go quiet and give me my mom's signature gnarly look. Sorry, I'm eating something. I can't believe that little shit stabbed me. I was yanked out of the prison of my own mind, where seething thoughts pecked at my brain like harpies, stopping me from coming back to reality. I stared back. Oya looked like a mini version of our mom right now. Well, to be precise, she looked like the person Mom turned into when we moved here, with her intimidating posture and her eyebrows directed toward the ceiling.
Ты меня не слушал, так?
She tried spitting out those words at me, copying facial expressions of the person she spent almost all of her free time with. For a moment I felt like the light Oya exuded all these years waned and wavered in the wind of prolonged changes. Very soon, my beautiful princess would turn into the dragon that was once guarding her prison tower. That thought was much scarier to me than any other horror sneaking up to me from the future.
Оля, прости. Ты же не сердишься, правда? Я просто задумался.
I looked around the room, my gaze jumping from one object to another like a hungry beast, trying to find anything that could distract Oya.
А давай в приставку поиграем.
Oya pouted, but there was a spark of interest in her small emerald eyes. The Snow Queen's ice shard inside them started thawing.
А как же второй джойстик? Не работает же. А папе починить некогда.
I'm gonna get that motherfucker back.
Можем из пистолета пострелять. В ковбоев или уток, хочешь?
Ты лучше меня играешь.
Да ладно тебе. Поди целый день тренировалась, пока меня дома не было.
Oya burst out laughing. Her heart was warm once again.
А как ты догадался? Я сейчас знаешь, какая меткая. Считай, уже проиграл.
Не на того напала. Включай скорее.
I hid Simeon's signet ring in my desk drawer. I was still unsure whether I did the right thing by stealing a crucial piece of evidence from the police. Then I relocated to my sister's room. Swear to God, get him back. Don't you let him escape with that shit. Little Oya jumped toward the TV set and, after flicking the power switch, started blindly feeling around the backside of the photon, trying to plug the console's cable into the antenna input. Bits of TV shows started flashing on the CRT screen when I armed myself with the remote to look for the channel with the sought-after Dindy signal.
Что дома интересного происходило?
It was a mundane question for me. I didn't put any actual meaning behind it. But Oya's expression suddenly changed. She lost all the child nonchalantness she worked so hard to acquire before.
Оль, что-то случилось?
My sister managed to put the cable in its place and started brushing off her dust-covered hand. She was clearly looking for the courage to continue the conversation.
Мама.
Oya went silent, and for a moment, I thought I saw tears welling up in her eyes.
У нее опять был этот страшный.
My sister looked at me with wet eyes.
Приступ.
This had happened before, but it was a rare occasion. Now that we moved to this godforsaken place, Mom's fits rose in frequency.
принес большую рыбу. Она в газету была завернута и пахла так. Бэ. А мама опять начала злиться. Потом взяла нож.
Oya squirmed, looking fearfully out of the window.
Они начали громко ругаться. И
I froze, imagining my little sister so small and unnoticeable, standing in the kitchen doorway. She wasn't even trying to hide. Our parents just paid her no mind at all.
И потом мама ударила. Вот так.
Oya slightly moved her fist downward, imitating a strike.
Рыбу. Она была живая тоже. Ей было больно. А мама...
It was so easy to imagine what happened next. The writhing fish, with a blade between its fins, squirted some foul-smelling musk into Mom's face. Whenever death got this close to my mom, be it when a person was hit by a bus in front of us and their blood was smeared all over the windshield, or when Grandma chopped off a chicken's head, Mom would always get into a weird, dreadful fit. Her eyes would roll over, she would fall on her face like a freshly cut tree, and start writhing just like that agonizing fish, turning over chairs and blurting out bits of scary sentences.
Папа, он ей помог?
Oya shuddered, as if it just remembering it pained her. Remembering it pained her.
Да, но вначале он засмеялся тоже. Так страшно, когда увидел, что маме плохо. А потом вдруг заплакал.
Oya's story made me raise an eyebrow. It seemed like the forest oozing madness not only had completely consumed our mom, but also infected our strong and courageous dad. I quickly stepped forward toward Oya and locked her in a tight embrace. She dug her face into my chest, and I could feel my shirt becoming wet.
Зачем они так издеваются друг над другом тоже? Они сумасшедшие.
I stuttered, unable to justify the actions of our parents. I had run out of words, and all I could do was hug Oya even tighter. Oya screamed and hid behind me.
Переключи скорей!
No matter how many times she saw this intro, she would always react the same, just like when she saw that owl. I mean, I also got goosebumps every time this ghastly face appeared on the screen, so I immediately complied with my sister's request. Let's play the damn game. Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. Finally, the game selection screen showed up for the cartridge that was bundled with the console. Too bad most of the names here were just different levels of the same game. I picked up the gray rectangular controller and started looking around the pixel letters to find the familiar English word for duck. Background music from the menu soothed Oya's mind as she asked in a calm voice,
А как твои дела в школе?
Я с одной девочкой подружился.
А она красивая?
I got embarrassed.
Ну, я не знаю.
Ты засмущался. Значит, очень красивая.
Перестань, Оль.
Влюбился.
Оля, блин, сейчас не буду с тобой играть.
Да я пошутила. А ты нас познакомишь?
Ну, может быть.
А как ее зовут?
Полина.
А ты покраснел. А где вы будете жить, когда поженитесь?
Мы будем играть или нет?
I plugged the light gun into the second controller port, listening to my sister's laughs.
Тюря первая!
Oh, fuck.
Считай, это я тебе поддалась.
Come here, duck. Oh god! I got one. I only got one.
Это ты виноват, что я промазала.
She's trying to win. Yo, I might lose. Fuck!
Неситова! Ты ближе к экрану стоял! Я с тобой так больше не играю!
Антон! Антон!
My mom only managed to get through to me on her third attempt.
Антон, тебя к телефону! Девочка какая-то!
I sobered up in an instant and rushed to the hallway.
Не споткнись, смотри.
I grabbed the phone, pressed it into my chest, looking at my mom. She shrugged and went into the room, gathering the toys thrown around by Olya as she went.
Алло?
У твоей мамы такой молодой голос.
А, ну да. Она сама молодая.
Не мешаю?
Нет, что ты.
If only she knew how costly this conversation could be for me. What risk I took on just answering this call. There were a pen and a shabby notepad lying on the nightstand. I picked them up and started moving the tip of the pen across paper, producing chaotic doodles that always ended up turning into hearts.
Я прочла твои ответы. А тебе действительно Кармен нравится?
Мне, если по правде, русский рок больше нравится. Но я почему-то постеснялся это написать.
А хочешь, Антоша, и я честной буду?
Конечно.
My pen drew an outline of a girl's face, her eyes, her long eyelashes. Polina spoke in a hushed voice, probably to keep her grandpa from hearing.
Мне здесь ужасно тоскливо.
Дома?
В поселке. Здесь никогда ничего не происходит.
There's nothing. Ooh, my
А
bad.
если происходит, то всякая гадость. И дело даже не в пропавших детях. Здесь музыки мало.
Но у тебя же кассеты есть.
Я не про записи. Я про... ну, голос этого места. Он не мелодичный. Все шуршит, как патефонная игла. Скрипит, воет изредка. Тут неуютно. Тесно очень. Не знаю, как объяснить тебе.
My pen's tip drafted a house, surrounded by tall trees.
Кажется, я тебя понимаю. Моя сестренка говорит, что чувствует себя заточенной в темницу.
Вот и я. Я очень люблю дедушку. И бросить его боюсь. Но порой так хочется убежать. Далеко-далеко.
Into the forest, I thought half-heartedly. To run under the falling snowflakes that make your fur white and the branches that hide you from prying eyes.
Я, когда рисую, будто путешествую.
У меня также со скрипкой. Убегаю по смычку в небо.
I realized I was drawing a butterfly knife. I crossed it over. Thinking of Ramka ruined my mood. Before I could reply, Oya descended the stairs. She was holding some book in a pink cover. Encyclopedia of a young lady.
Ты долго еще?
I covered the handset with my hand.
Я разговариваю. Что случилось?
Почитай мне, пожалуйста. Мама уснула.
Иди к себе, я сейчас.
Только быстрее, ладно?
Ладно.
My last reply sounded excessively annoyed. I sighed, watching my sister running up the stairs.
Прости, надо бежать.
Мне тоже. Спасибо, что выслушал.
My ear vibrated from the buzzing sounds. I dragged my feet to the second floor, thinking of the girl I shouldn't talk to if I don't want to die from a knife wound. I wish I could tell Dad, asking for his manly advice. We're going upstairs, we're not going outside. Wow, okay. But he doesn't show up home until late at night because of his new job. My parents don't have time for me, to put it lightly.
Ну, где твоя книжка?
Where's Oya? I stuttered. The kid's room was empty.
Оль?
She probably snuck into my room. I started walking down the corridor. The room was infested with shadows. The blinds were waving like there was someone hiding behind them. I smiled. I sneaked toward the window and threw open the curtain.
Попалась!
There was nobody behind the cloth. The window was a TV screen showing winter scenery. The lamppost, the field, and a couple of walking figures in the middle of it. Shit! I gasped and pressed my fist to my mouth, sinking my teeth into it as I watched Alyssa and Oya walk off into the forest. Alyssa was leading Oya into the thicket. I needed less than a minute to hurriedly dress and rush out of the house. My heart was beating like a firing machine gun. The wind carried the cold, resinous smell of coniferous trees from the forest. Freezing air crackled somewhere in the field. Two shadows loomed in front of the gate. I could only recognize them as my sister and the fox girl because of their height. I ran toward the fence, listening to the howl wind and the squeaking snow. One of the figures moved and slowly guided toward the thicket like an ice skater. I slowed down and touched my glasses, trying in vain to adjust my vision to the surrounding darkness. Worry landed on my shoulders like a weightless snowflake. A snake woke up in my belly and started writhing. I felt nauseous. I thought about my home, the flimsy fortress I left behind. I finally caught up to my sister, dressed only in a coat.
Оля!
Ты видел лисичку?
Оля, зачем ты вышла на улицу? Если мама узнает...
My sister froze in place, facing the tiger. She was in hand's reach, and I put my numb wrist on her shoulder for some reason, probably to make sure it wasn't a dream. Oh, here we go again. A pointy beak was erected at me, strewn with the feathers that formed an owl face. Something wearing a bird mask was staring at me.
Ого, не узнает.
The voice sounded exactly like Oya's. There was somebody else hiding behind them feathers in the carton. I sprinted away as if I got whipped. The masked creature only pretended to be Oya, just to lure me out. I was running like crazy, drowning in the snow. The house in front of me was rapidly growing. Yellow light in its windows granted me hope. My mom and sister are there, my salvation. I couldn't hear anything from behind me, as if nobody was chasing me. Maybe it's because the owls can fly? I was already climbing the porch when I noticed another figure. From the soot-black shadow of my house, a scruffy wolf cub crawled out and stood in my way. Its movements were jerky, chaotic, as if it was performing some terrifying dance, or convulsing during a stroke. And even though I could clearly see that the wolf's face was a mask, something in this werewolf's convulsions made me freeze in place. The boy in a wolf's costume rubbed his side against the porch post and fell to his knees. He bent his back so hard that I expected his spine to crack. The beast's eyes shone, but it didn't attack. He kept crawling around and running on all fours. I shifted my feet, my mouth agape, trying to keep him in my line of sight. Something was trickling through the slit in the mask. Viscous drops fell to the wooden planks. Saliva. Some unknown force was pushed me in the back, whispering to save myself. The fence was flashing by at the edge of my vision. I was running in another direction this time, toward the toothy edge of the forest that smelled of pine. My heartbeat measured time. The wolf boy growled behind my back as if he forgot his human nature. My right leg got stuck in the snow-laden cavity. I yanked it out, cursing under my breath, and fell to the ground. Plastering snow prevented me from standing up, from propping myself up against anything. But my unbound thirst for life helped me get out of that trap. Darkness was creeping closer, like the toxic fumes of burial pyres. I ran again, gasping for air that stung my throat. My hair swayed in the wind. I lost my hat when I fell down. My ears were now hot from the freezing cold while most of my body was still sweaty. The field finally ended. After realizing that running through the forest wasn't the smartest decision I could make, I dove into the line of trees. I ran without stopping, my face covered with one of my palms. I didn't want to lose an eye to some random branch. Branches whipped my clothes, pricked my skin like butchers that were herding a pig into the grinder. A knot of roots, sprouting from the ground, grabbed at my foot. I rammed into the scratchy trunk, slid down in space, and looked around in a panic.
Ух, какой ты быстрый.
My first desire was to dash toward her and hug her. I resisted it, and squeezed myself even tighter into the pine.
Ты... Что ты здесь делаешь?
Да вот,
She was holding the hat I lost.
в бюро находок подрабатываю. Надевай, а то уши замерзнут, а потом, глядишь, и вовсе отвалятся.
She giggled. I squinted in suspicion and shifted my gaze back and forth between her and the hat, scared that Alyssa might be holding a severed head or something even more sinister. But in the end, my hat turned out to be just my hat. I wish there was an option to run away. I took it and pulled it over my forehead.
Тепло?
I didn't reply.
Там во дворе были какие-то дети.
И что, покусали тебя, что ли?
Нет.
А чего же ты убежал?
The answer was obvious, but after rolling the thought on my tongue, I mumbled.
Не знаю.
Обещала не обзывать тебя дурачком. А я обещание исполняю.
She walked up to me and grabbed me by the elbow. I sensed a familiar aroma of mint oranges and burnt sparklers. I wanted to lean into Alice to savor the minute details of her smell.
Сколько можно повторять? Со мной ты в безопасности. Я твой друг. И они.
I quickly turned around toward the place the fox girl was pointing to. Kids in masks appeared at a clearing. At least they looked like kids since they were all pretty short. A wolf boy, an owl girl, and a bear boy. They all huffed and gasped for air, clearly tired from running around.
Я думал, мало ты в снег провалился. Стало снегопать, нет тебя.
А я не копал, лень копать было. А ну как получается, если дурак, то бегай да копай. А если умный, подожди, пока другие набегаются, накопаются и устанут. И уж тогда заводи разговор.
Как я рад! Дегенерат!
А?
Не обращай внимания, он со странностями.
I stood there stupefied, my mouth agape and my hands dangling helplessly. I got food in my mouth. I had no idea how to react to the words of these late-night guests, but I managed to squeeze out something resembling a smile.
Вы просто меня напугали.
You poor bastard. Jesus. They started looking at each other, and somebody even snorted as if I said something funny.
Да, да, лесоправа!
Это он.
Неужели нашли?
Наш зайчик.
Да, похож.
The wolf boy started waggling part of his costume like it was his tail in excitement.
Ну, конечно, ты первый. Это волчик раньше всех почуял зайчика в тебе и рассказал нам.
Здравствуй.
С нашей совушкой ты знаком не понаслышке. Не такая уж она и страшная, правда?
All y'all motherfuckers are scary.
Да, наверное.
А этот улыбчивый бугай — медвежутка. Ты лучше с ним поласкавее, а то голову откусит.
Anton, he'll literally chew off your face.
Зачем это?
Да, смотрю, ты чувство юмора где-то обронил.
Run! I was still unsure if these peculiar little animals had the best intentions in mind, so I hid my hands behind my back, trying to look away from the gaping holes of their carnival masks. Alyssa put her hands to her sides in a theatrical manner and somehow managed to wink with her fox face.
Когда в следующий раз придем, будем звенеть в колокольчики, чтобы ты не так боялся нашего визита.
Dinner bells?
А у нас разве есть колокольчики?
Чур, я звенеть не буду. У меня лапка болит.
My smile was no longer fake.
О, зубы показал. Это добрый знак. Не ожидала, что сможем тебя рассмешить. Я думала, это под силу только Диснейленду.
Откуда ты знаешь?
Could you creepy?
Да так, прочитала кое-где.
Shit.
Про меня?
Про клюв от воробья. Про Диснейленд яхонтовый.
Ты умеешь читать по-человечески?
Зря я, что ли, в школу хожу день ото дня.
And then she sang in a coquettish voice.
Как детей не замечать, как мечты их развенчать. Учат в школе, учат в школе, учат в школе. Крепко-накрепко вломить, с детства слабеньких.
I let out a
В
cautious
школе,
laugh.
учат в школе, учат в школе.
My new acquaintance didn't seem scary anymore. On the contrary, they looked friendly and welcoming. There was something about them that attracted me. Just like this clearing, this moon, and the snowflakes that fell backwards, from the ground to the sky, as if someone was rewinding a tape. The masked kids got close and I felt their touch. They gave me friendly taps, felt my clothes as if checking whether I was real. There was no animalistic malice in their touch, only pure childish curiosity. For some reason, I thought to myself, I can trust them. Snowflakes just kept on floating upwards.
Никто тебя больше не обидит.
Друг. Пусть только попробуют.
You know, I am somewhat disappointed in that last episode after looking back on this previous episode of it. And seeing them turn into monsters was a huge letdown. The fox gave me a slight tug and burst out laughing.
Ну что, Тоша, убежишь с воплями или с нами пойдешь?
Куда?
На аттракционы!
At that moment, Taiga's deceptive silence was broken by the sound of a distant flute. Mesmerizing and alluring, it brought out the ring of crystal glass and the whispers of a fresh winter spring. If I had any doubts before, the flute's song shattered the last of them. I started following my new friends before I could even make my decision. My legs carried me of their own will, and the tunnels made of pine stepped apart, bushes bowed in front of our procession. Everything looked dreamlike. Because even the clearing we ended up on, I only saw in my dream. The flute soared up in the treetops, like some fantastical bird. The snowflakes floated up in a spiral. The moon painted tree branches with silver. Alyssa gasped in amazement. I was also in awe. I tilted my head backwards as far as I could.
О, красиво как.
Очень красиво.
Wolfie howled in agreement.
Это мелочи. Я покажу гораздо больше, если захочешь.
I did want. I wanted to see what the fox girl saw with her eyes, hidden in the semi-dark of her cape. Now I didn't feel weird about these masked kids. I felt weird for being the only one without a mask. I felt like I was naked in the January winds.
Скажите, а зачем вам маски?
I was trembling, but I wasn't scared. My trembling wasn't caused by the cold. It originated from the peculiar anxiousness, the anticipation of something amazing.
А тебе зачем?
I touched my cold cheek.
Но я без маски.
Обожаю человеческие сказки.
Человеческие ласки.
Человеческие дрязги.
Я же говорила, все жители поселка носят маски. Только скрываются за ними отнюдь не люди.
И даже я?
Ты такой рассеянный, Антон.
Однажды мы уже нашли твои очки.
И шапку. И твое настоящее лицо.
I looked at the mask the fox was holding out to me. The bunny mask that looked like a silver ingot under the moonlight. I was curious to see the world through its slits. I gotta keep taking it. Jesus. Suddenly, fighting its way through the flute's melody, a thought came to me. The glasses they found were in Simeon's possession. My new acquaintances must have known what happened to him. They ate his ass and found Anton's glasses. Or even worse.
А куда подевался Семен? Что с ним стало? И с остальными детьми?
The bear and the owl looked at each other. The wolf boy curled into a ball, and the fox lowered the pointy nose of her mask.
Тот, кого держали в клетке.
Тот, кто режет мелко-мелко. Тот, кто носит кожаное лицо, забрал их.
Умел бы я креститься, перекрестился бы.
Хотите сказать, это был человек?
Чем ты только слушал? Разве можно назвать такого, как он, человеком?
Wait. Huh. Something's off. Something's off. That's why everybody's kind of disappointed in the next episode, because something's really off. Something's not fitting. Leave a comment if you know what it is.
Одно слово. Взрослый.
В мире взрослых так легко потеряться.
Убийцы, жестокие дрессировщики и равнодушные родители. Лучше об этом вовсе не думать, чтобы не грустить. Не знаю, как вам, а мне печалиться совсем не хочется.
И я сегодня какой-то негрустный. Антон, а ты?
А?
I was lost in thought, staring at the pines, trying to pinpoint the location of the flute. I was sure that the person who played it was standing right behind the piney stockade. Someone tall, going over the holes in the flute with their long fingers.
Так что, сядем тосковать или займемся отдыхом?
Алиса хотела что-то показать.
Давай начнем с самой сладкой части программы.
The fox girl took out a handful of candy from her pocket and handed them to each of the kids. Covers shuffled. The smell of pineapple, cocoa, and melon wafted through the air. Ah, the last treat, the chocolate-covered waffle candy Alyssa put right into my mouth. My tongue was engulfed in spiciness. I felt like my body was covered in fur and small sparks were running along it. I chewed on the waffle and the chocolate, gulped them down, enjoying the vivid taste.
Спасибо.
My gratitude was barely audible because my lips were already touching the insides of a mask. I didn't even notice how I put it against my face. The papier-mâché was warm, the mask stuck to my skin, giving it a nice prickle. The kind when you dive into a hot bath after being outside in winter, when you lie there and purr from the soapy water.
Говорила же, это твое!
Мое.
Чего стоим? За нас веселиться никто не будет.
The melody kept swirling in the field like a hurricane. I couldn't wait to release the energy, the heat that this enchanting music was filling me with. The owl jumped and disappeared into the sky. I heard laughter from somewhere above, and then she landed back, huffing and sighing.
И ты так можешь. Попробуй.
I followed suit. My feet tore off from the ground. I flew toward the stars like a rocket and screamed from happiness after seeing my friends down below. The wind helped me fly. It felt like I was jumping on a huge trampoline. The stars looked like vivid sparkles that I could reach and lick up. The moon also got closer, and then I plunged. I got scared that I'd break my legs for a moment, but my soles landed softly on the ground and I regained my balance.
С нами ты в безопасности. И все твои мечты станут явью. Я так счастлива наконец обрести тебя. Зайчик!
In a fit of merry laughter, I realized the most important thing. These four are not a threat. My real enemies, and I felt that with every single hair on my mask, were those who knew nothing about magic. Humans from the village. I also realized how alive my surroundings have become. I heard the dry grass under the snow moan. I saw faces of the trees and the stars. The trees were smirking and the stars were grimacing in fear. That's right. Be scared. I'll jump up to you and... I snapped my teeth, then let out a jubilant laugh, jumping up along with the fox. We flew higher than the tallest pines and I stayed in the air. I swirled. Alyssa followed my rhythm. I knew that she was smiling, so I smiled too. And the flute just kept on playing, carrying us higher and higher.
Эй, тебя что, заколдовали?
That someone is standing next to me. I thought, trying to unglue my chin from the desk. My muscles felt slightly sore, but that feeling was pleasant. The whole class was wandering about for some reason, whispering and passing notes to each other. Their faces looked like discolored masks to me, bleak and boring. I yawned, remembering the time I was soaring high above the forest with Alyssa by my side, laughing and squeezing my hand. Perhaps, no, probably, it was all just a dream. Because I didn't walk back from the forest, just woke up in my bed on a normal morning with tea and medicine. Still, I was hardly worried about trying to find a rational explanation for my night dance. That feeling of flight was much more important. The knowledge of how it feels to be hanging in the air above the treetops of majestic pines and baring my teeth at the moon.
Прости, задумался.
Слышал уже про Катю?
А?
I glanced at the empty seat in front of me.
Катя пропала.
My sleepiness was gone in an instant. I frowned in suspicion.
Как пропала? Вроде не может.
I'm playing for a whole hour. We'll save it from here. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll be uploading this along with more Armored Core content for those of you who've been waiting on it. And I'm also in a show, so I won't be as active with this, but I'm trying to finish as much of it as possible while I have the time to do so. And then the fucking fun begins. Take care and God bless. Ciao.